This podcast was produced on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation.
Welcome to Australia.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
This is kind of tragic.
Someone who is such a connoisseur of reality television.
The content is hideous.
So sorry about this. Oh my God.
Welcome back to The Cringe is Real, the podcast that cringes along with Australian reality TV and pop culture at large. I'm Sam Crimean, and I'm back in the kitchen with my sous chef Rula Paterson to recap the second half of what was a fantastic 16th season of MasterChef Australia. MasterChef Australia is an Australian adaptation of the worldwide hit reality TV show format, and season 16 just wrapped up last week, and it's all available to watch now on Tenplay. Rula Paterson, hello.
I'm so glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're on the other side.
I always feel a deep sense of sadness when MasterChef ends. I feel like I emotionally invest in all the contestants, their journeys, their families. So when it's over, I'm like, what do I do now?
Absolutely. It's also a sign that winter is almost over though, which is good.
True.
'Cause
That's true.
My MasterChef depression can also be over.
That's true. And it is a sign that possibly Australian Survivor is coming back soon.
Maybe. I hear that we might be getting 2 seasons of Australian Survivor next year.
I've heard this as well. So it's America versus Australia
Yeah,
versus
or like
the world.
something like that.
And then you're straight up normal Survivor.
Yeah. Bring it on. I can't get enough, so
I would watch 10 seasons
give it
a
to
year.
us. I know. I can't believe it. They've taken their time like this long to give us that much.
I know, and not many teaser trailers either.
I know. But before we get into MChef, what else are you watching at the moment?
So what I'm watching at the moment, and it's in the reality vein, is Jared Carmichael reality show.
Tell me about this show.
So this show, I think Vulture kind of described as a vanity project inside a vanity project inside a vanity project.
Okay.
Which is pretty true. It is this guy who invites a camera crew in to basically film his life. And by his life, I mean incredibly awkward interactions with his family, with his friends, basically him being one of the worst people on TV, but then also sometimes really redeeming himself.
And is it actually real, or is it, because
Yes.
it kind of sounds like the comeback.
It's real.
Okay.
So, I mean, some of the scenarios are staged. Like he takes you on a road trip with his dad,
Okay.
which is great. But there are moments where you are just like, why do you do this? Why are you how you are?
I'm intrigued. Any show like this, like it kind of sounds like it's almost Nathan Fielder-esque,
Yes.
where there's like you questioning how real or not real parts are. Shows like that like turn me on so much.
Oh my! This show is for you.
Okay.
He's
I will watch and report back.
yeah. Please do. What about you? What are you watching?
Well, last time you were here, we discussed my obsession at the time, MILF Manor. And unfortunately, I have to report that the rest of the season was absolute trash, and not in a fun. Like, it started so good. It started off with so much promise, and it just kind of got boring. People kept leaving because it was like clearly not like a fun or safe environment for anyone involved.
Okay.
And then I think halfway through, people were just like, oh, I'm just going to leave. Also, it was in like a boring like lake house in Canada, whereas the last season was in like a sexy like resort in Mexico. So I guess you would just stay for that.
Nothing worse than when a reality TV show with an incredible premise
Yeah.
fizzles out at the end.
It fizzled so hard. By the end, I was just like, wrap this shit up. Like, I don't even care about these MILFs anymore. And like week 3, I was like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. And then it just, I don't know what went wrong.
Shame on those producers.
I know.
Taking such an incredible concept.
How can you fuck up a concept like MILF Manor?
It's pretty bad.
It's bad. It also, there was nothing, like normally there's a shred of authenticity to these relationships, but these ones were like really stretching the imagination. So, you know,
you couldn't get invested in
I
it.
could not get invested. But luckily I had 3 to 4 nights of MasterChef a week to keep me entertained.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Let's get back in. So last time you here, we ended at week 5, and week 6 began with the egg elimination challenge. So this is when we had Makiko Terasaki in like a big iPhone.
I loved it.
Do you think that was like in her contract? She was like, I don't want to like get COVID or something? Because she never came out of the little box.
I just feel like maybe the gay intern was allowed one set design project that season.
The Channel 10 gay intern is working overtime.
And that was it. And maybe he accidentally superglued her into the box because you're right, she did not leave.
It was so weird. It was like she was in the box and it was a cute little bit. And I was like, this is cute. And then I thought maybe she'd be like, haha, here I am. And like be with the judges and stuff. But literally it's like they just wheeled her off and then what? Like,
Yeah. Hannibal
Was-
Lecter
was
style
it
on a
green
trolley.
screened?
Yeah.
was Hannibal Lecter stuff? I thought it was like as curious as it was camp, but still fun. And they had to do, what did they have to do? They had to cook something with eggs.
That was the challenge.
Yeah. And this was when Stephen, who was Steve-O, our Aussie battler from up north, tried something new. He tried to tempura batter a soft-boiled egg, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be.
Bye-bye, Steve-O. He packed up his croc tooth necklace and went back home.
And do you know what? Like, with what we know now, with how this show played out, I like Steve-O even more. Like, because if I have a choice between Steve-O and Pezza, like, you best believe I'm jumping on the Steve-O bandwagon.
If my choice is one like Aussie country bloke, Steve-O is it for me.
And there is only room for one.
Yeah, as demonstrated in this show.
Do you think the producers really thought that like Pezza would like capture the hearts and minds of Australia?
I think they did, but I
It really
can't.
felt like that.
I can't say in my world that happened, but it possibly
no.
could have in other worlds.
I have been following Twitter and Reddit throughout the season, and no, not in any world were people Team Pezza.
It was curious casting, but I guess he was the meat man.
Yeah, he was just the Tassie butcher. Still doesn't know what a wok is.
Still doesn't know what a
Yeah.
wok is.
Anyway, so we said goodbye to Steve-O. Then we had the Lee Kum Kee product placement challenge.
Love a good sponsored challenge.
Love that. We need to talk about the Lee Kum Kee advertising with the succulent Chinese meal. And what was his name? Declan?
Yes.
From last season?
Yes.
Who I kind of, like, you can't help but love him.
Yeah.
Was he the fish guy?
Maybe he was the
Was
fish
he
guy.
the fish guy? There's always a fish guy.
Yeah.
I think he was the fish guy from that season. And he's on these ads where he's like, Lee Kum Kee. It's just like a succulent Chinese meal, but without the drama.
Yeah, incredible.
So good. Then we had the pressure test with Darren Purchase. So this was the cherry blossom brownie. Dessert pressure tests, normally I'm a bit like snooze town. But this one was quite interesting. And this is where Pezza, like, where the fork in the road in front of Pezza emerged. And it was like, now he gets to show the judges that he's like serious or something.
It really did. And we kind of, I think a real fork emerged for Pezza when he stopped referring to himself in the third person.
Did he stop?
He stopped. At some point in the back half of the season, I realised that when he would say things like Pezza was in trouble at this moment or Pezza wasn't doing well, he stops and he starts saying, I wasn't doing well.
Wow.
He was able to integrate himself.
He
and just
expanded his vocabulary.
Yeah.
He did refer to the misses a lot as well.
Ball and chain. Loved those jokes.
Ball and chain, misses.
Yeah.
And we did get to meet her eventually. And look, if you need help, like just blink twice, babe.
Yeah.
We'll come down and pick you up.
And I think that's something also that Pezza is really good at and comes out in these challenges is he's really good at following instructions.
Yes. So he showed the judges that he can fucking smash a complicated dessert pressure test, which we all know that's going to be the end of the finale.
Yeah.
And yeah, it comes back later to help him out. But unfortunately, Sav got overwhelmed during this, which, I mean, I would have too. And we say goodbye to Sav, but not for long, because the next night we had the second chance cook, which I was frothing for this.
I love Second Chance Cook.
So good. Especially on a season like this where we said goodbye to some seriously fun characters. Who were you hoping was going to come back?
I was hoping that Snez was going to come back. And I loved her in this challenge. I loved her amazing Balkans meal. It was
great.
Inspired me the next night to go have my own Balkans feast in St Albans. Shout out to Balkans Grill St Albans. Would recommend.
Amazing.
But yeah, I really thought she was in with a shot.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were going to bring back either a Snez or like a Juan de la Cruz, or maybe even... oh no, he was still in it at the time. Yeah, I don't know who they were going to bring back, but they had plenty of options. But then the edit kind of told us halfway through that it was just going to be Sav, which I was not mad about.
No.
Because I think Sav did have more to show. So she won herself a place back into the comp. Week 7 started with Rick Stein, who I love, talking about seafood, of course, and the elimination challenge involved, unfortunately for David, a little bit too much smoke. He used liquid smoke, which I've got a thing of liquid smoke in my like sauce cupboard, and I gotta say I barely touch it because it's kind of gross.
Yeah, it tracked that he went.
Yeah.
It was a tough challenge, especially having like a back-to-back round 2, another cook.
That's right.
But yeah, they did not like his dish.
And it was see you later, David. Then we went to Frankston.
Amazing.
Which I was like, is this the international destination of this season?
Yes.
And thankfully it wasn't. But I, for a minute there I thought, is this as far as the budget will allow? Are we just going to Franger? And I like this. It was like pub classics but elevated, which is always a good idea. And then Curtis Stone rocked up. Thoughts on Curtis Stone?
Not a fan.
Okay.
But you're a bit of a fan, aren't you?
I mean, yes. I just want to climb him.
Yeah.
Like the ginormous man that he is.
Yeah.
He's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah, he really is.
And he looks incredible. Like he's like reverse aging or something. It's that LA magic.
He does look great.
Looks great. He's always telling us about how bloody good Coles is. They had to keep up with Curtis in the elimination challenge, and poor Sue had too many issues with her dish, so she couldn't keep up with Curtis.
My only comment on this challenge was that my German mum told me that she was surprised to see something so German on television as the meal that they cooked.
What did they cook?
Spice rubbed pork with smoked beetroot and Hasselback potatoes.
That is very German.
So it was hard to tell whether that pleased her or displeased her, but very German.
Then, so this is like my favourite episode. We had the sauce immunity challenge. So this is the one where, you know, Curtis is there to get us all excited, but if you win, your sauce gets stocked in shelves, in Coles, for everyone to taste. Were you excited about this one?
Yeah, this is my partner Max's favourite challenge. This
my God, amazing.
The second year that we've bought the sauce.
Oh, so you did have it?
Yeah, we bought the sauce.
So I went to buy the sauce.
Yeah.
And Coles Melbourne Central gets like rammed, and it was nowhere to be seen. So I reckon it all sold out in like the first 2 seconds.
We cooked some meats dish with the sauce.
With the meatballs?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And please provide your
Delicious.
Your review. It was good.
I would say to call it an Indian Italian sauce is maybe a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, wasn't it in Italian? Which
Yes.
not enough wordplay there for my liking, but they gave it a shot.
Difficult to say.
Yeah.
It is more of an Indian sauce.
Okay.
But it was delicious.
Yum.
We've got a spare jar, so
Oh.
I can send it your
I'll
way.
come over and
We'll
we can
cook it for
up a
you.
thing. Yeah, no, I was really gutted that I didn't get to try it, but I
Yeah.
did read lots of reviews of it online.
Were they positive?
Yeah, most people liked it, and
Yeah.
most people made the meatballs.
Yeah.
Yum, loves to meet, and look, her whole business plan at the start of this show was Sauce Boss, right?
Yeah.
So
She did it well.
she did it, and I
Yeah.
was really, and this is what I love about this show. It's like you come on and you're like, I want to do this, and then when it happens, you're just like, oh,
Yeah, good for you.
exactly. Then we moved into Sweet Week, which
Not my
I know
favourite
your
week,
feelings about Sweet Week.
but-
I am the same. I'm like, okay, cool. Clearly, it's just because like Dessert Masters is coming up next or whatever. But it does, filter out some of the cooks that aren't as comfortable in the sweet space.
That's true. It does challenge a few people.
Yeah.
Which is always great.
But before that, they still had one other challenge that was the plant-based elimination. This always trips someone up. And I was really thinking this was when we were going to knock Pezza out. I was like, finally.
Me too.
He's not going to know what to do with some veg. Hasn't, never seen a wok.
Yeah.
Probably never cooked a vegetarian meal before.
Yeah.
But it was Josh Clark, the trade of the season.
It was a difficult one because I don't think he fully understood the concept that they wanted something that looked like meat.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. There was a bit of questionable judging towards the end of this season.
Yeah.
Where the brief wasn't clear.
Yeah. I agree. I think it was a tough one.
Yeah.
Because he went more into the fine dining space with his carrot steak. But
It looked yum, but like maybe a bit too like oily or something. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, they really just wanted those fried chicken waffles that Dash made. Like that was
Well, that looked amazing.
that was incredible.
That was like crumbed mushroom.
Yeah.
That's the business.
Yeah, I think it was good. He'd mentioned that he had a vegan ex.
That's right.
So I think that really helped him out.
Dash is still my favorite person from this season, I think.
Yeah.
Like, what an absolute sweetheart.
So gentle, so
Yeah.
kind. And when you hear the contestants talk about the other contestants they really liked, so many people mentioned Dash.
Yeah, it's true. Then we saw Mr. Zumbo. So it was Adriano Zumbo's Jelly Mystery Box Challenge. A few interesting things happened here. So we finally learnt that Alex Crispy Crisp is Danish, which I was like, oh my God, now I like you.
Yes.
I was like, now I have to like you.
She
as
finally-
a member of the
she finally
Danish
got a
Australian
character trait.
community. Yeah, she finally got a character trait, and it made me like her a lot more because
Yeah.
we learned a little bit about her, and she made a gorgeous little dish.
Yeah, love that little
the
midsummer,
good Medfleur.
Tribute.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
Then it all made sense, like the pigtails, because they were really annoying me. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, she's trying to like brand as like the Viking princess.
It was a cultural expression.
And I'm like, shame on me.
Yeah.
Dash made peanut butter and jelly crullers as well. They looked so
Yum.
good. I love that Dash, like, he was really good at sweet stuff, but he didn't make it his whole personality.
Yeah.
He's not like a cake boy, but he still excels in that space.
Yeah.
So I love that he could just take on both. And it's like, yeah,
He's a really talented cook.
so good. That was actually a really fun mystery box. Then, of course, MasterChef can't help themselves. We had to have a Krogenbush moment.
They've got to do it.
Is it? I feel like it's because Poe's on the judging panel now. They're like, let's like trigger Poe as much as possible with Krogenbush. Because like back in the OG days, that was like the most complicated thing anyone could comprehend.
Yeah. Now they have to like the most insane molecular gastronomy, but back then it was just like the perfect cock and bush.
Now they've got to spray shit with like
Yeah.
the paint gun, but it used to just be make the crock and bush. These were really cute though. I really liked everyone's crock and bushes. Was this when Nat made the Jenga with the eclairs?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you picked up on this. It was in the edit, but it wasn't like sold. But it was where we also first learnt that Nat is queer, because she tells us about this story about her introducing a girl that she liked to her mum. And oh my God, I was a mess.
Yeah.
Like such a beautiful story. This is when I was just like, Nat is a fucking star.
Yeah. She really is. I love those little slices of Nat backstory.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, getting into it, it was just so good to see her family in the finale.
Oh my God.
And for it to all like come
Just
together.
heaven.
Yeah.
But now she's kind of like this. She's like, hey, you know, I'm just trying to like cook some food, man. Like I kind of love her. She's kind of butch in this way, and I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Like she just grew on me throughout. Loved her from the start.
Yeah.
Kind of knew she was going to take it, and I think so did the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, loved that. We also had Mimi, who did the pumpkin miso Krogenbush, which fuck, that sounds so yum.
Oh my God, it looked so good.
Yeah.
And then we had Pez's Take Me Home to God's Country,
Oh
Banoffee and
my
Toffee
God.
Croquembouche.
This was the, oh my God. How I have never felt so gaslit by Channel 10 in my life.
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing to me, Channel 10? If anyone else plated that dessert, they
Yeah.
would have been like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like
No.
if Dash put that up, they would have been like, what the fuck? Because it was Pezza. They were like, cute.
I think something happened in the season where they really had such low expectations of Pezza that anything he put up, they were like, wow.
I was mad.
Yeah.
Like it was, don't get me wrong, very funny
Yes.
to laugh at his childish dessert. And like, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of theatre and a bit of fun, but like, I just thought that clearly there'd been a production discussion where they were like, this guy's going to the end.
Yep.
Paint him as like a really fun person. And then it did upset me a bit because I was like, I feel like there's some double standards in the judging.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he got this whole storyline where he was just like going from strength to strength. There
was like blue food colouring.
He was not good.
It looked like the swimming pool cake that you make like the Women's Weekly. Yeah. Because they were already stretching it with like Nan's sponge.
Yes.
And then this, I was like, sorry.
I know.
Male white privilege, what now?
It felt very Liberal National Party, especially the slogan, "Take me home to
Take
God's
me home to
country."
God's country. Which like, yeah. I mean, there's some creepy shit going on down in Tassie. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and it crept onto our screens.
Also, can we just jump forward to Pez's son, the eldest son, that I actually thought was kind of hot.
Yeah, yeah.
But looked the same age as him.
It was
It
deeply
was
confusing.
so confusing.
Yes.
I was like, did you have this child at like the age of 2?
I guess so.
Yeah, I found myself deeply confused, both despising Pezza but also really wanting to like shag the son.
I think you can hold two things at once.
Exactly. But Take Me Home to God's Country will go down in cringe history as possibly the worst thing that's been on MasterChef. And then also to have Poe with like a straight face, like, this is really fun and whimsical. I was like, no,
No. You
bad
can't-
Poe.
Yeah, you can't say that. It's revolting.
Tell him off. Oh my God, moving on. Then we did the twins challenge. This is where they paired them up, right?
Yes.
And they had to like make an identical thing.
And they had to shout through that MasterChef.
Can we stop with these?
You don't like it?
I don't like these. Do you like these ones?
I find it very comical,
Yeah.
especially when someone has a tiny whisper voice.
Use the food. Yeah. No, don't like the relay. don't like it. Because it's like,
Okay.
well, because every other part of this show is like actually equipping these people for the real world of food industry. This shit is too gimmicky for me. I'm like, when are you actually going to use these skills?
Yeah, I think it is just for entertainment value.
Yeah.
Because they have cut a few different MasterChef challenges over the years. Like, remember how they used to cook against a chef?
Oh, that's right. Or
And
was that when it was like back to win or something? There were higher stakes maybe.
Yeah, but even in the seasons previous to that, one of the elimination
That's
challenges.
right. And it was a blind tasting.
Yes.
I missed that.
So
Yeah.
things like that they've cut out, but they still have the twins challenge in.
The Channel 10 focus group must have been very clear. Like
They love
relays and
twins
like,
challenge.
identical challenge.
Yeah.
It's giving social media bites.
Exactly.
Gillian and Lachlan made a pandan Swiss roll.
It looked so good.
It was cute. Yeah. I just love pandan anything.
Oh, me
Sign
too.
me up.
Yeah.
It's so good. And Nat and Sumit did sticky rice with mango cardamom ice cream.
Also looked delicious.
I'm salivating even reading that out. And they looked the most identical in appearance and were also tasty. So they won immunity.
Well done.
Yeah, such a good cast. Gillian unfortunately seemed to like fade into the background a little bit this second half of the season.
Yes.
They were kind of gearing us up to really like her. I feel like they like swapped Gillian out for Mimi in
Yeah.
the second half of the season. They're like, no, this is the one that you like now. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
was
like
like-
them both.
Whatever you say, Channel 10 producers.
Speaking of, unfortunately, we see Gillian fumble on the coffee elimination challenge. Now, this is one of the product placements that I like really struggling to get on board with, because it's like the coffee club, and it's like do we even have the coffee club in Victoria?
No, I think it's at the airport. Like,
Yeah, I think there's one at like the Docklands wheel.
yes. No, it seems like those kind of places.
But clearly they've done a deal because like Andy is in the commercials where it's
Yeah.
like, pick up a barista made coffee.
It's a bad sponsorship. Channel 10 should not have signed this deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like they would sign a deal with the devil himself,
Oh,
as
they
they
would.
did with renewable
Lee
gas.
Cum Key, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Coles is like annoying, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This one, no. It's
No.
like you might as well sign a deal with like McCafe
Yeah.
and like tell us that that's great. Actually, didn't they? There's been worse. Haven't they done like Nespresso pods or something? I feel like there's been a
yeah.
Nespresso challenge
Yeah.
where they had to use the fucking pod coffee.
Yeah.
in the
That sounds
dish.
right. That sounds right.
They would do that.
yeah.
Gillian attempted... Oh, she admitted that she hated coffee, which I'm like,
Okay.
maybe don't say that
Yeah.
to the producers.
Because they will use that against you,
Oh, yeah. Which they did.
which they did. Yeah.
And she made a creme caramel that tastes delicious, but it was overcooked. Which, like, creme caramel is a hard one.
It's a hard one to
get
get right.
I was really sad when Gillian left.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really liked her.
I felt like we, needed more from her. Then, oh my God, so this was, the next mystery box was Nagi Mehashi. Had you
Ooh.
heard of her before?
Yeah, love Tinates.
So that's the thing. So I'd never heard of her, but can I tell you, since this episode, I've made like 6 of her recipes.
She's incredible.
It's amazing.
Every recipe she has works out well.
They work out well. They're easy.
Yeah.
The format of the website, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, the pictures.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I felt really stupid that I didn't know who she was.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind on that one. But welcome to the Teenates Club.
I know. It's so good. And also she's just like so likable.
Yeah.
Also she embodies the whole spirit of MasterChef because she was working in like engineering or something, and then
She was working in finance.
that's right. And then she did like a career U-turn.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty much the whole point of this show.
And she basically turned a blog into like a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah. Smart gal.
She did it.
And so cute. So they had to do this was I thought a bit of a stitch up. So because her whole brand is simple stuff that's tasty, like clear out the cupboard, right?
Yeah.
And then this was the first time, I believe, we've heard on this show food being referred to as basic,
Yes.
which I was a little bit like, firstly, I was like, that's my job, sitting at home,
Yeah.
to say things like that. But also, it took me out of the nurturing world of MasterChef.
Yeah, we got a little bit of mean judges here.
It was mean. Even Poe was like, I think was it Alex's dish they called basic?
Yeah, she did cook a HelloFresh meal.
It
Let's
looked like a fucking HelloFresh meal.
let's be clear, but yeah, they were incredibly rude to her.
They were. But yeah, it was spiced chicken and crispy potatoes and peri peri yogurt sauce. That sounds straight from a HelloFresh menu. But yeah, it was for me, it was when they started using that word and I was like, whoa, okay, we're opening up the floodgates here to basic. And then I kept hearing it throughout the season.
And I think it was also one of the times where they could have been a little bit clearer on the brief.
True.
That a 30-minute meal doesn't mean something easy. That you still... Yeah.
They're like, we still want it to be MasterChef.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like if there's one episode where you're allowed to do HelloFresh, it's this one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I kind of get what they're saying. It just came across a little bit cruel.
It wasn't constructive.
No. Having cooked the bottom three dishes, Pezza, Crispy and Sav were sent to the Banksia Pod pressure test. This was such a beautiful dish.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Is this the guy that like was from Vue de Monde or something and now he's got his own...
Sounds
the
right.
young guy?
He's the younger guy.
Yeah, and they're always like, youngest.
Hugh Allen.
Hugh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're always like, he's young, but he's really successful. And it's like,
Okay, two things can exist at once.
But is he young or does he just have like a baby face?
I think he has a baby face, which is quite confusing. I imagine working in a kitchen is really stressful and you smoke like 60 cigarettes a day. But
Totally.
he manages to hold it together.
He does. So this Banksia Pod, it was, I really want to try it. I love like a dessert like this where it's kind of like a frozen thing.
And I liked that they could experiment with how long the Banksia Pod had been in the bushfire. Like some people made it a little bit more burn, others didn't. That was cute.
That was a nice little story. Alex nailed the chocolate and caramel element, but the texture of the espresso gel wasn't right because the gelatine didn't dissolve, and she was eliminated.
Yeah, can't say I was too sad, but...
Yeah, I mean, I had a whole full circle journey with Crispy where I was a little bit like, who is she?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, she's just kind of a bit cute
Yeah.
with her Danish grandma.
Yeah, the Danish grandma stuff, but it was, yeah.
It was
is what it
was.
is.
Yeah, she had a really good innings, I thought.
Yeah, she did.
And I think if she didn't have the likability and like the positivity that she had, she might have gone sooner.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, that keeps you on this show as well.
Oh, a big smiley face.
Big smiley face and like, ha ha ha, I'm looking at you, $1 cruise.
Yeah.
Then we had the bacon and eggs invention test. Did you like this one? No. I was a bit like, we just did eggs like
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah. And Harry made tiny little egg and bacon rolls. So this is...
I was convinced they were going to hate this.
I was so convinced when he was like, I'm making little baby egg and bacon rolls. My first thought was, I can already... Basic. And I was like, I can already hear Andy going, well, where's the rest of it? They were so little, so tiny. Because they were tiny. And like no one wants like less of an egg and bacon roll.
Oh, no. I was like, you're in trouble. But
yeah.
no.
I thought we were going to get the You're in Trouble music, but instead it was like, here's a business class flight to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Which was the prize.
Oh, my God. Cathay Pacific, I was like, oh, this is not a good prize.
Oh, I loved it because it was like, they have to try so hard to fill all these 50 episodes with things. And like, there's only so many immunities we can give out. So I actually thought it was kind of funny.
Okay,
that
that's
it was
a good point.
Instead, you win, like we're all going to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But you win business. That was cute.
with his little glass of champagne.
With his little glass of
sitting
champagne.
at the front of the plane.
How are you feeling about Harry at this point in the comp?
Okay. I mean, I think at that point in the competition, I was like, he's going to keep on going further.
Yeah.
They've given him enough of a story. I was like, he's the fish guy.
Yeah.
He can do other things.
I was convinced we were going to get a Nat Harry
Interesting.
final two at
Yeah.
this point. I don't know. I just really thought he was like dark horsey enough, but also quite good. I don't know.
They were really praising him
Yeah.
at that point.
And then we went to Hong Kong,
Woo!
which was exciting.
It was so good.
We finally got a trip. But we didn't all go to Hong Kong. Sav wasn't there, which the internet was like,
Why?
tell us.
Yeah.
And it was personal reasons.
Yeah.
We can't not speculate.
What do you think? I read this wild theory
Okay.
about
Tinfoil hat on.
that it was something to do with her Sri Lankan passport, that it's very hard for Sri Lankans to travel to other parts of the world, and that maybe... But I was like, but surely she has an Australian passport.
Surely.
So that really didn't fly for me, that her Sri Lankan passport... She couldn't get a visa into Hong Kong because of her Sri Lankan passport.
I thought that, or maybe like crippling fear of flying,
Oh, that's a good one.
or there could have been like a family thing,
Yeah.
because she said she went back to Adelaide.
Okay,
So I'm like,
that makes sense.
so you went to Adelaide, so maybe there was a family thing.
Yeah.
I love this show.
Maybe she's been banned from Hong Kong.
Oh my God, maybe she went to Hong Kong and was like arrested for doing
had a really
crazy shit.
had a really big night out, and now she's banned.
The
And she had
Hangover 3 style.
Yes, she had to disclose that to the MasterChef producers.
And they were like, look, we're willing to deal with these odds later. Wow. That's...
Though
look,
I'm putting it on
I'm
the
putting
table.
it on the table. Other theories could have been, she just, I don't know, wanted a mental health week.
Yeah, didn't really feel like
I
it.
feel like this show, if you just said, hey, I actually just need a week off, they'd be like, sure.
Yeah, we'll just put it down to personal reasons.
But honestly, it's what I love about this show.
Yeah.
And anyway, but then Paula Sav, I think this is where it started, because people were kind of going over a bit on social media, which is not
Interesting.
okay.
What were they? So I haven't followed any of this.
Well, I think people were just putting pressure on her to say what it was.
Yeah.
And then there was some other stuff that we'll get to later
Okay.
that came up. But no, at this point it was just mainly about that. But also, we're making fun of it, but I was sad that she didn't get to go.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, who wouldn't want to be a part of that experience, you know?
It looked like a once in a lifetime experience, especially going with somebody like Mimi who knew Hong Kong so well. That would have been so fun.
That was a double-edged sword though, wasn't it? Because
It was lots of pressure.
exactly. She was excited to be home and like show everyone else her culture and everything. But then it was like, girl, you know these ingredients, you know this food. Like, there's an expectation there.
Yeah.
And I think she did get a bit overwhelmed by that pressure, which is understandable.
She really did. She felt like she had the weight of her community and her culture on her shoulders.
Yeah. The first challenge in Hong Kong was the Hong Kong Mystery Box. So they write that first location they were at, with the view of the skyline in the like mist. That was so cool.
It was so great.
I love they were just standing there, and then it was like, okay, let's go off now to the thing. Do you know what I would have loved though? Is like some shots, because they kept talking about, like, Pezza later on was like, oh, we ate this dish last night that was really cool. I would have loved just some shots of them exploring and eating,
Oh, me too.
like a travel show
Yes.
vibe. Why don't they do that?
I guess just limited amounts,
Yeah.
amount of time in the episodes. But I would have, or even if they had have given Pezza a GoPro.
Pez cam.
Pez cam.
Oh my God.
I would have loved that.
Pez's Hong Kong market adventures.
Oh my God, watching him dig
It's like,
around
what's
in his
that?
money
They're like,
belts.
it's a wok.
Yes.
Oh, we don't have those in Tasmania.
He
What
would.
do you call this?
His first time overseas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Actually, I act like I'm surprised.
No,
Like,
he tracks.
He's crossed the Tasman.
Yeah,
to-
not first time on a plane, but first time overseas.
Mm.
I wonder if they had to get a rush on his passport to get him over there.
Well, he managed to get there. So what was this mystery box? It was all like Hong Kong ingredients. And there was some crazy shit in there. What did they have? And I love they showed us the underbench staples, and even they were like different.
Yeah,
it was really
so
cute.
good. Harry used the flour crab
That's right.
to cook a really good Cantonese dish. That looked delicious.
With egg noodles. Nat, Mimi, and Harry all got chosen to then compete in the immunity challenge the next day.
Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah. So Mimi made pineapple pork sliders, which looked delish. Then it was Vicky Chang, who was very cute and very like charismatic.
Yes.
I thought.
Yes.
I hadn't heard of Vicky before.
No.
But I was into it. They went up to the Polin Monastery and they were tasked with recreating Vicky Chang's 3 ages of daikon radish from memory. Wow.
Oof, a tough one, especially because Harry just took no notes.
That's right.
Yeah.
This dish looked amazing, but like I feel like it would be really stinky.
Yes.
This wasn't one of the radishes like dried for like months or years or something.
It did look like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
But
I
did look
trust that it's amazing. There's
Yeah.
a lot of this food in Chinese cooking, isn't it, where it's like aged or dried or, like century eggs and stuff, where if you just go with it, it's actually delicious.
Yeah.
But if you start thinking about...
Just don't think too much about it.
If you don't think about how long it's been like fermenting or aging or whatever, but, I do love all that stuff, the kind of pongy stuff. Nat smashed it and made the best recreation. And so she got immunity. She's just like the immunity magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's she really is. That was her second.
Oh God, I have no idea how many times she'd won. She won the one and only pin of the season.
Yeah.
Then I feel like countless other.
Yeah.
It almost got to the point like love you that, but sometimes I'd be like, all right, no, come on, give someone else a go.
Yes.
Then this was my favorite challenge they did in Hong Kong was the street food markets.
Oh, it was so good.
So good. They had Team Wok, Team Deep Fry, and Team Steam.
Yeah.
Which team would you have preferred to be on?
Well, people seem to think that Team Deep Fry was the best one.
Well, I mean, deep fried food is just objectively the best thing ever.
And it did seem it did seem a bit easier in terms of the industrial steamers that they were using.
That's
that were
right.
like 7 stories high. That did seem a little hard to wrangle.
Yeah.
And then also the industrial wok, which Pezza really struggled with. So I guess the deep fryer was probably the easiest option.
It did feel like they were just handed all of this equipment that they didn't know what to do with, and it was just like, good luck.
Yeah,
Was they going to
do
get
your
like, trained? Like it felt kind of dangerous.
Yes.
Like here's this ginormous steamer that you've never seen before. Oh my God.
I'm sure the Channel 10 producers walked them through a standard operating procedure.
Team Wok was Pezza and Mimi, and they nailed it with their exo sauce radish cake and beef. That looked so good. Anything with the words exo sauce and like radish cake in it, I'm kind of there.
Mimi's the cake queen. I remember she made a really good turnip cake earlier in the season. She's really good at that stuff.
Very, very good. Team Steam, Harry and Lachlan did steamed clams, but the noodles in their dish lacked tenderness, so they were out. But Nat and Dash, of course, absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
And so Dash won immunity as well with the prawn fritters and the fish balls.
Well, it looked incredible.
It did. Just those two together, I was like, these
Dream team.
dream team.
Yeah.
These are the two that I want to go out with, and like, yeah. Then we had back in the MasterChef kitchen, back in Flemington, they reunited with Sav. So she's back, and they just, nothing to see here. Sav's back. They talked about doing a Hong Kong inspired dish. So it was the lucky dip immunity.
It was. And I liked how people used a certain code to pick their cloche. Like they used children or partners' birthdays.
That's right. This is when it was like a grid and they had to go by numbers.
Would you use a system, or would you
Nah,
go completely
I
random?
would just go completely random.
Me too.
Because it's like they weren't even numbered, were they? They
no,
were just,
they
like,
had to be like 2 across.
But it's like, where are you
12
counting
down.
from?
Exactly.
That's the whole time I'm thinking, like, Pezza was like, oh, the ball and chain's birthday. And I'm like, Pezza, there's no numbers. Like, what are you doing?
And obviously it didn't. I mean, it worked out well for him in the end, but his face when he was confronted with bitter melon and
That's
bamboo
right.
shoots, incredible TV.
Don't have those in Tassie. That was very good. Yeah, some of these episodes where it's like you literally get 20 minutes of people selecting cloches.
Yeah, it's not good TV.
No, I put it in the same basket as the cube tasting
Yes.
challenge. So watching people eat cubes of apple, going, it could be an apple, but it also could be a pear. I'm just like,
No.
why am I watching this?
I agree.
Mimi killed this one.
Yeah.
She did fish agnolotti with they were like dumplings, but kind of pasta.
It looked really great.
So yum.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, of all the dishes in the whole show, that's one that I'm like, I really, really
she's
want to
so
taste that.
talented.
Harry also did char siu pork with black cardamom. Yum. Yeah, the whole Hong Kong theme was a good choice.
Yeah, it worked out really well
It's
for
just
them.
food that is like iconic and delicious.
And also, I think it was really interesting for us. There were quite a few ingredients that I'd never seen before.
Totally.
And to see them really grapple with that, work out different flavors, it was good TV.
It was good. Week 11, we had the time auction challenge.
Oh my God.
Do you like this one?
I love this one.
Yeah, I like it too. What's his name? We barely talked about the judges. Jean-Christophe got pretty excited at this one. He's like, oh my God. Oh no. Of course, Harry needed the fish. So he did like a semolina coated fried snapper.
But he did completely misunderstand
Yeah.
the time challenge.
Yes.
And he really bid himself into a corner where he only had 25 minutes.
That's got to be like the shortest amount
Yes.
anyone's ever had.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just bought everything and you had like 5 minutes. And you're like, oh. Lachlan, though, he had the most amount of time. He had 80 minutes, but it didn't come together. He did lamb koftas and it kind of fell apart.
It wasn't great.
To be honest, though, like, I'm very surprised he made it as far as he did.
Yeah, me too. Apart from being a single dad,
Yeah.
they really didn't give him enough of a narrative to propel him
That's
forward.
I have nothing.
Nothing
So you
else.
could tell that the show wasn't that invested in him being there.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew he wasn't going to go
Yeah.
at the end. Then Poe did the everything mystery box. So I love this one. They've got to use everything
Yeah.
that's in there. And of course, Poe picked the ingredients, so they were fun. Then we had, this crazy dish with the peas.
Oh,
The
wild.
the Bistro Guillaume guy with the duo of crab and all the little peas with the consomme.
Peeled peas.
Peeled peas. And they didn't have to make like 5 of them.
Yes.
That was this was like kind of mean.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Dash,
Yeah.
this is where we said, and this was like, everyone was crying. Like
I
Sophia
know.
was like a mess. And this was the first time she was like, seriously, babe, gonna miss you heaps. And I was like, I actually believe it.
I feel like he's that person who really like sets the culture. Like
Yeah.
he just like everyone loves him.
He's very likable. Love you, Dash. Then they had the Food Hero Immunity Challenge. So this was where it was like everyone talked about their families and it was just like pools of tears on the floor from the very start. I'd had a rough week at work and I was like watching this and I was like, oh my God, don't do this to me.
Why are you
MasterChef.
breaking me down? You're not my therapist.
Exactly. I was such a mess. Then, oh my God, the bone marrow dish from Nat. Please put this on your menu.
Would eat.
Alumni. because would absolutely eat that. So she once again won immunity.
Yep.
And cemented her place in the final four.
Well deserved.
So final four, who did we have? We had Nat, Harry, Pezza,
And Sav.
and Sav. Really strong final four.
Yeah. Good bunch of cooks.
And I mean, at this point, I was definitely still assuming we were going to see Nat in the end, but but who she was going to go up against was still unclear.
Yeah, me too. I was like, it could be any of them.
But also, this was when the editing started really getting very pro Pezza.
Oh,
to the point where I was like, you guys are
Yeah.
not even disguising this. We're
That-
getting like so much Pezza content.
that Pezza propaganda.
It really was. It was God's country all over again.
It was. It was like, yeah, he was front and center.
They would just cut to him for no reason, being like, oh, yeah. I'm like, you're not even cooking. He'd be on the gantry and they'd cut to him. I'm like, why is Pezza speaking? Oh. Finals week, which was actually 2 weeks this year.
Yeah.
I was like, they were like, it's finals week, but then it was like
Finals week part 1.
finals week part 1 because it's the show that never ends. Oh, I like this one. This was the extreme ingredients elimination challenge. So they had like the epoise cheese, the Carolina Reaper chili, monk fruit concentrate,
Yeah.
umeboshi, which no one used the umeboshi, and it's not that. It's
That's
actually
what
not
I
that
thought.
strong. Like,
Yeah.
there's one of those on every bento
Yeah.
in Japan, and you just pop it in your gob at the end. It's kind of like a little refreshing mint
Yeah.
after your meal.
I was quite surprised that nobody chose it.
Nobody chose that.
It felt like quite an accessible ingredient.
I thought so. And the bitter gourd as well. Loved this because they were all, they basically were like, we're going to make you use these fucking like kind of gross ingredients.
Yeah.
Like really intense ingredients. So you've got to somehow like wrangle them.
And you
Love
can't hide them. We have to know that they're there.
Yeah.
And it was a real challenge.
They have to be heroed but not ruin the dish.
Yeah.
It's really,
or
really hard
ruin
to do.
us.
Yeah. Harry's gnocchi looked so good.
Yeah.
I was like,
And I really loved Sav's meal with that tomato veil. I've never seen that before.
it was
as
really
a cooking,
beautiful.
A cooking technique. It was really interesting.
I think there was a veil on another season but I think it was from like a pressure test or something.
Yeah.
But to see someone just do that, like you know she's been really like studying and
Yeah.
like trying new stuff. Yeah, I was really impressed by
Super
that.
smart and super beautiful.
Yeah. And that paid off. They liked that. This is also, we got Harry's pasta backstory about like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, gnocchi got me my wife or whatever. Which I was a bit like, that's cute, but like maybe shut up about the gnocchi. And then didn't you have a dog called Gnocchi or something?
Yes.
It's not a name you give an animal.
No.
I'm sorry.
But it really did convince me that we were going to see more of Harry. The fact that they were continuing to give him this like good Italian boy storyline.
Yes, out of nowhere
Yes.
as well. Yeah, like called up me nonna and was like, "How do I make gnocchi? I got this girl over." Like it was cute. But Mimi, and this was, oh my god. So Mimi was gonna make the soft shell crab like sliders, which sounds so good.
Yeah.
And obviously to make those you need brioche, and the brioche didn't work, so she ended up just turning it into kind of like a bowl, like a donburi, and it's like, that's basic.
It was
Sauce.
basic. The judges did not love it.
Every time someone just like whacks on some white rice, I'm like, ooh, girl.
Yeah. You can't just turn it into a bowl.
You can't just put things on top of rice and be
No.
like, it's not fish bowl.
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
As yum as I'm sure that would have been,
Yeah,
because soft shell crab is kind of the best thing ever.
yeah.
Yeah.
The balance of flavors were just out.
Yeah, in the bitter gourd and kimchi slaw.
Mm-hmm.
But like props to her for thinking that's how I'm going to use the ingredient.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, unfortunately, we said bye to Mimi. So that finalised the top 4. Then they did this golden ticket thing, which I was a bit like, what the
Why?
fuck? This was so dumb because I'm like, it's only 4 people. Like 50% of the people are going to go. So like, it's not like if it was a golden ticket to the end from like week 3, hey,
Yeah.
that's a good prize.
It was very confusing because I was like, they're in the final four.
They're already in the final four. They've already got a golden ticket to the final by being in the final four.
And it felt quite lazy that there was nothing really in the mystery box. It was just a golden ticket.
I think the prop department had already made the golden ticket.
That's what I think as well. And they were like, oh, guys, we've got to use it. It cost a lot of money to get this 3D printed.
It's peak Channel 10, a golden ticket. And all of the ads, it was like, oh, who's going to win the... Because it's like evokes that like, you know, Willy Wonka thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What happened here?
Sav cooked a beautiful...
the lump rice.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this is the other social media thing.
Yeah.
So she made this dish, which looked unbelievable.
Yeah.
May I just say. And people online were like, oh, that like looked kind of boring. Why did the judges lose their shit? Because the judges were like crying.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. But like stupid racist people online were like, I don't
It's
get
just
it.
a bunch of rice.
Yes.
Ugh.
And then she wrote this beautiful message on her Insta or something and was like, I just want to say thank you to all the people that like reached out and said it looked great, blah, blah, blah. But she just like had to let the world know that she had received some people saying that. And the fact that even one person wrote that is absolutely disgusting.
Well, it's racist, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But also it's like, that aside, why do you need to let someone know when on the show they won?
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to like correct that injustice? Like, take a look at your life.
It's very
sister.
funny. Yeah.
But anyway, I think she dealt with it beautifully. And every element of that dish looked unbelievable.
Yes.
And this is the first of a few dishes of hers where she was sort of doing this love letter to Sri Lanka. And now I just want to eat Sri Lankan food.
Yeah.
So then we had the Josh Nyland pressure test. So this was the flounder Kandinsky. Another really crazy one. There was like scallop mousse and they had to like bone a fish but have like the rack still on. That was crazy.
It was, they had to basically make like a lamb rack out of fish. They had to make it another kind of flounder, and then they had to do all of those sauces.
That's right. And the sauces were kind of like this beautiful painting.
Yes.
Which Nat was frothing over because she's like, I love this. I'm creative, blah, blah, blah.
She did art history at RMIT.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Pez's piping of those sauces.
Oh my God, it made me laugh so much. I was like, why are you doing it that way?
But I was like, finally, I was like, this is it. And then I'm like, also, it's like fish, and Harry's whole thing is fish. So I'm like, great, see you later, Pezza.
Yeah.
And then what did they do? Fucking eliminated Harry on the fish challenge.
I know.
I was devastated.
Shocking.
But also the way that the sauce was piped. I was like, no, it's not Nana's sponge.
Why did he pipe it like a child? It was really...
And his hands uncontrollably shaking. I couldn't.
No, it was deeply uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Then we had the fun day where it was like, tables are turned. Now the judges are the contestants, which is like cute and fun.
Yes.
But did we need it? I don't know.
I maybe would have preferred another day in Hong Kong over this.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
anyway.
It was still kind of fun. John Christoph was like really enjoying this.
Yeah, it was his time to shine.
Yeah, it was his time to shine. And we needed this for us to like get to know him a bit better. Because he's still like new. He sticks out to me still as the one that's new here.
Yeah.
And they don't give him that much airtime, I've noticed.
No, which is really strange because to me, he's so funny. When he does things, he really makes me laugh.
Oh, yeah, the dancing?
Yeah.
He's like, "Ugh," and oh my God, fantastic. Like, so good.
Yes.
He's already become like iconic. They can't get rid of him now.
No,
which
he's
is,
great.
Clever. I actually hope they keep everyone.
Yeah.
And I can't see them changing it because it worked really well.
Yeah.
If anything, like Poe probably just like too busy doing other stuff.
That's true.
So I feel like if anything, she might pull out.
Yeah.
But I hope not because
They have such good chemistry as a group.
They do. And having 4 on a panel, like, and also 4 like hosts.
Yeah.
Could have been a terrible idea, but it wasn't.
No.
Yeah. I think the risk paid off. That was fun. The judges won, didn't they? Over the
Yeah. Because the Thai beef salad didn't have enough miso, which does make sense. Miso is not a key ingredient in Thai beef salad.
It actually should not be in there. So, yeah, that's right. They tried to do a little fusiony thing. The semi-final was a service challenge.
Yes.
Sav cooked another love letter to Sri Lanka. This one, though, was a pork belly with a coconut spice glaze and a ghee poached lobster, which sounds so delicious. Spicy dal and the creme diplomat with mango dessert. But she undercooked the pork belly and then some of the textures and flavour balances were off as well. So unfortunately we said bye to Sav for the second time. Which I kind of, again here I thought maybe she was going to be in the final.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, she struggled with the timing. It wasn't quite right. So yeah, this was the final goodbye.
Yeah.
It was quite sad.
I felt sad. I mean, it showed us that the judges made the right choice bringing her back because she was really good.
Yeah.
She made it very close to the end. Coming third. And she still got, was it 10 grand or something?
Yeah.
That was really awesome.
That was good.
Yeah, she definitely deserves that. Then we had the grand finale. Nat v Josh. I was bricking it.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was going to win.
Yeah,
His
no.
editing was wild. I was texting you like, we've lost.
I just had to believe that Pezza wasn't going to win.
So you had hopes.
I had hopes.
Okay. I don't know. The way so what did it for me was it's like 5 minutes into the show and they kept showing us this story of Pezza going, I've played footy, I've played sports, every time I always come second, every time I come second. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Second place Pezza. I was like, we've never heard this second place story ever.
He was trying to fucking manipulate the editors. He's like, every time, they call me second place Pezza. It's haunted me my whole life. I'm like, what are you talking
I was
about?
like, can we have an example? Like, was your what is it specific? Yeah, what is it specifically?
He's like, it's my turn. Why can't it be my turn to win? And I was like, shut up.
Oh, it was not.
Just be in there and be like thing. Also, when he like knocked out Lemongrass, I was like, okay, game on, Mole.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he was just really annoying me. But I did like, so we met the families.
Yeah.
And I really liked Pez's wife's honesty when Andy was like, did you think he was going to make it to the end? And she was like, no, not really. Like, this is a amazing achievement, but it wasn't what we were expecting. I was like, yeah, me neither, babe.
Yeah, we all believe the same thing.
Yeah, but apparently he's been coming second at everything his whole life. Then they also announced that the winner also gets a 3-week residency at Alumni at Crown Melbourne. This is genius, Mark. Like, this is so clever.
Oh my God, Channel 10 stretching those dollars.
Great. Like, yeah. Open up a little spot in Crown.
If I wasn't so ideologically opposed to Crown, I'd go.
Same.
But anyway.
I was going to suggest we just pop in
after
Nat.
this.
And Nat's actually there. Like, if you've been seeing like the content, she's there.
Oh, nice.
At least I know she walks around. But it looks cute. So first prize is also $250K.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there's a second and third prize as well.
Yeah.
That's nice because they go through so much on this show.
Oh my God.
To get knocked out by the tiniest thing. So first round was they knocked out ingredients until there was one left and they could both agree on, which was black pepper.
Interesting.
Which Nat knew exactly what to do with. I love she did this. It was like pub food meets Thai food, a Scotch egg with like a Thai sausage.
It looked so delicious.
Yeah. So yum. Pezza made steak and chips with a peppercorn sauce, which you can literally get from any
the most Pezza meal.
Like, it's an RSL meal. When they were doing that, and because like my partner who doesn't really watch the show, but like if I'm watching it occasionally, he'll be like, what's going on here? He was like, he did not make that in the final. And I was like, oh, okay. Someone's invested.
Yeah.
That point I was like, come on. But then they still scored him. Was it like 1 point difference? Like 3 points difference or something?
It was 3 points different.
Yeah. That felt
wrong.
really unfair.
Yeah.
Then the second round was a friggin' dessert pressure test from Claire Smith. The Corteza, which was like Malteser flavors, but with this like floating puff of malt. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't look that yum.
It did not look good.
Yeah, I was kind of like, this is the finale. I couldn't believe that was the final dish, but anyway.
And speaking of pub classics, it did really remind me of like a Tim Tam cheesecake.
Oh my God, it did. Chocolate ripple cake was the finale meal. And then I thought, oh, it's all over for Nat because we know that Pezza excels.
Yeah, this is his jam.
But she did it.
Yeah.
She won. I was so happy.
More so, I think, I mean, Pezza was behind like after the first round, but he also, if he had have gotten that Malteser, like the big kind of Malteser plume, that malt plume up, they really loved all the other elements of his dish.
It was a tough one. And I feel like they could have gone either way. Of course, people are already like accusing 10 of favoritism or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, calm down.
She was definitely the more inventive chef.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we see basically the conclusion of the whole Pezza saga. Pezza comes second again.
Second place Pez. But look, good on him. He did Tassie proud.
He did Tassie proud.
God's country.
Yeah.
What do you think he'll do? Because I'm like, Nat's going to go off and like do all this stuff. I'm like, I have no idea what he's going to do. Maybe a little thing on his farm or whatever.
Well, that's what he kind of said. Him and his wife were talking about like, if the ball and chain is in, he's going to give it a go. So I imagine it's like...
And she's like, nah. She's like, don't even think about it.
I imagine it's going to be like some kind of like farm to table.
Yeah.
Like only
Experience.
open. Yeah.
Look, if that sun is there, I would go check it
You'd
out.
go?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's do it.
Well, we're off to book tickets to Tassie. Congratulations, Nat.
Yeah, congratulations, Nat.
Rula Paterson, thank you so much for coming back to wrap MasterChef for another year. Will you be watching Dessert Masters?
Absolutely not. And you?
Look, I might give it a go. Last year I gave it a go and then kind of fell off towards the end because that French guy really annoys me.
The only spin-off I support is Junior MasterChef.
What? No.
Dude,
Children have no place on television.
Oh my God, when they were the little cremoos, it was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
I would.
Do you think they'll bring that back?
No, it
haven't
hasn't
done it
been
for
back
ages.
for years, and I don't understand why. It was so great.
What about Celeb?
Celeb MasterChef?
Yeah.
No, not for
we don't
me.
need that. All right. Well, we did it. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Cringe is Real with me, Sam Cremant. If you would like to support the show, rate, review, share, and tell your friends about it. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the show notes.